Supply Chain Management Basics. Supply chain management for our purposes is considered as the active management of supply chain activities by a firm to maximize customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage by paying attention to what is happening outside its four walls. It represents a conscious effort by the supply chain firms to develop and run supply chains in the most effective and efficient ways possible with a unity in objectives. Supply chain management is involved in the process of planning, implementing and controlling operations for serving customers as efficiently as possible. It encompasses all activities involved in sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistics. In this lesson, we will cover all these basics as related to supply chain management. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, you should be able to understand nature and concept of supply chain, various functions of supply chain, concept of supply chain effectiveness, various types of supply chain relationships. Why do we need SCM? Or for what matter do we really need it? Oh yes, we do. Companies need a strategy for managing all the resources that go towards meeting customer demand for the product or service. Then, companies must choose suppliers to deliver the goods and services they need to create their product. Supply chain managers develop a set of pricing, delivery, and payment processes with suppliers and create metrics for monitoring and improving the relationships. And then SCM managers can put together processes for managing their goods and services inventory, including receiving and verifying shipments, transferring them to the manufacturing facilities, and authorizing supplier payments. Also, supply chain managers schedule the activities necessary for production, testing, packaging, and preparation for delivery. This is the most metric-intensive portion of the supply chain, one where companies are able to measure quality levels, production output, and worker productivity. Delivery is the part that many SCM insiders refer to as logistics, where companies coordinate the receipt of orders from customers, develop a new network of warehouses, pick carriers to get products to customers, and set up an invoicing system to receive payments. And last but not the least, return. This can be a problematic part of the supply chain for many companies. Supply chain planners have to create a responsive and flexible network for receiving defective and excess products back from their customers and supporting customers who have problems with delivered products. Now let us have a look on a conventional supply chain. As you can see in the figure, a typical supply chain may involve a variety of stages like being a customer, retailer, wholesaler or distributor, manufacturer, component or raw material supplier. Though many stages are shown in the figure, each stage needs to be present in a supply chain. Yet, generally more than one player is involved at each stage. You must have heard the word time lag a lot of times. Lag time indicates time spent waiting for something to happen, such as waiting 2 weeks for a new computer or software to be delivered. The figure here shows us a hypothetical time relationship between the purchase and the different stages of a supply chain. Each stage of the supply chain takes some time to deliver its product to the next stage. A value chain is a chain of activities for a firm operating in a specific industry. It categorizes the generic value-adding activities of an organization. The primary activities include inbound logistics, operations or production, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and maintenance services. The support activities include administrative infrastructure management, human resource management, technology or R&D, and procurement. Now, As it becomes clear from this figure also, supply chains link value chains. Now we all know that supply chain management is a cross-functional approach to managing the movement of raw materials into an organization and movement of all the finished goods out of the organization towards the end consumer. All supply chain functions revolve around the flow of material or product, information, and funds. The product flow deals with the movement of goods from supplier to customer. The information flow deals with transmitting orders and updating the status of delivery. And the finances flow deals with credit, payment schedules, and title ownership arrangements. Product flow can be divided into procurement, manufacturing support, and information flow. Procurement is concerned with purchasing and arranging inbound movement of materials, parts, and/or finished inventory from suppliers to manufacturing or assembly plants, warehouses, or retail stores. Manufacturing support concentrates on managing an orderly and economic flow of materials and work-in-process inventory between the different stages of manufacturing. And physical distribution is concerned with outbound product shipments. It is inbound movement to the buyer of the product. Information facilitates coordination of planning and control of day-to-day operations. This integration of different areas involves three major types of information flow: coordination flow, cash flow, and operational flow. Coming down to fund flow, there is only one source of funds: the customer, who pays for the product, while the retailer pays the wholesaler and the wholesaler pays the manufacturing company. Regardless of the phase your business is in, an effective strategy for measuring your supply chain effectiveness is a more complex proposition than ever. Supply chain effectiveness is determined by some identified features that set them apart from others. These include strategy, metrics, technology, supplier performance, integration, and collaboration and risk mitigation. We all know that firms with best supply chains have a corporate strategy that drives planning, tactical design, milestones, and other steps in strategy development and implementation. Financial measures are poor ways to evaluate, direct, and manage supply chains. The key performance indicators are orders, lead times, reliability, inventory levels, potential out-of-stock conditions, and logistic cost. The metrics for these have to be right. Technology is vital for supply chain execution to provide event management, exception management, complete supply chain visibility from purchase orders to delivery orders, and as a tool for collaboration. Supplier performance, or the lack of it, can create havoc on revenue, inventory, and profitability. Thus, the better the supplier performance, the more efficient the industry. The supply chain process requires integration throughout the organization and collaboration with key supply chain participants to provide focus and resources to the total supply chain. Again, the better the integration and collaboration, the more efficient the supply chain is. A supply chain is effective if the entire supply chain can be assessed to identify critical areas, including suppliers, logistics service providers, ports, and other potential risks that could jeopardize the company's supply chain. There are three types of supply chain relationships: transactional, collaborative, alliance. The transactions can be seen as a series of independent deals having an absence of concern by both the parties about each other's well-being. The relationship is formal. Collaboration happens because both parties are aware that money enters the supply chain only if the chain's end products are most competitive. This makes the awareness of the interdependence and necessity of cooperation to be the key difference between collaborative relationships and transactional ones. The three most important factors required for a successful collaborative relationship between a buyer and a supplier are two-way communication, responsiveness to supply management's needs, and clear product specifications. Alliances are not legal entities, but mutually beneficial and open relationships wherein the needs of both the buyer and the seller are satisfied. They are similar to collaborative relationships, but stronger. But these are difficult to develop because supply alliances only work when the buyer and the seller are able to develop and manage institutional trust. World over, corporate houses have started outsourcing their supply chain functions to a third party or even a fourth party service provider. A third party logistics provider, abbreviated 3PL or sometimes TPL, is a firm that provides a one-stop shop service to its customer of outsourced or third party logistics services for part or all of their supply chain management functions. Third-party logistics providers typically specialize in integrated operation, warehousing, and transportation services that can be scaled and customized to customers' needs based on market conditions and the demands and delivery service requirements for their products and materials. The examples of TPL may be freight forwarders, courier companies, and other companies integrating and offering subcontracted logistics and transportation services. The term 4PL is generally considered to have been introduced by Accenture, which registered it as a trademark in 1996 and described the 4PL as an integrator that assembles the resources, capabilities, and technology of its own organization and other organizations to design supply chain solutions. The trademark was later abandoned and the term has become a part of the public domain. Now let us check our progress on the topic by discussing if the given statements are true or false. The first statement says that the integration of different areas involve three major types of information flows, namely procurement, manufacturing support, and information flow. True or false? False. Value chains link together to build supply chains. True or false? False, since we know that it is supply chains that link the value chains. Lag time indicates time spent waiting for something to happen. True or false? True. The supply chain is based on two core concepts. Firstly, practically every product that reaches an end user represents the cumulative effort of multiple organizations. These organizations are referred to collectively as the supply chain. Secondly, organizations have to manage the entire chain of activities that ultimately delivers products to the final customer in order that each stage of the supply chain and all its constituents can maximize profits. Supply chain management (SCM) maximizes profit by integrating three key flows across the boundaries of the company that form the supply chain: flow of product or materials, information, and funds. Successful integration or coordination of these three flows produces improved efficiency and effectiveness for business organizations. One of the key features of modern industrial system is that organizations use specialist services, incorporate proprietary items into products, and develop ancillaries to support their products and services. In looking at the strategic capability of an organization, it is not sufficient to look inside the organization. That is why the concept of outsourcing supply chain work to 3PL and 4PL companies has become the order of the day.